After I lost our baby, my husband, a psychiatrist, used hypnosis to erase my memories. Then, he took his female patient on a 3-month getaway. When they came back, he restored my memories. I remembered I was a wife and a mother, but the love, gone. My life no longer revolved around chores. The constant nagging I was once known for disappeared. Kian and Oliver thought I was just giving them the cold shoulder, trying to get attention. They ignored my strange behavior until they stumbled upon a foreign post I'd written. My memory is back, but my feelings are gone. I can't even understand the person I used to be. Just being in the same room as my husband and son makes me anxious. I was curled up in the guest room when harsh light suddenly flooded in, jolting me awake. A tall man stood in the doorway, silver-rimmed glasses, eyes cold as ice. Took me a few seconds to realize it was Kian, my husband. Why are you sleeping in the guest room? His voice was calm, completely devoid of warmth. I clutched the blanket and sat up, forcing a weak smile. My memories just came back. Everything feels off. I need to sleep separately for a while, just to adjust. He gave a slight nod, looking indifferent. Suit yourself, then casually. You didn't call me today. I looked at him confused. Call you? Why would I? There was nothing to say. His tone grew colder. You used to call me nonstop if I wasn't home by 10. Shame made my skin crawl. I just wanted to disappear. Sorry. It won't happen again. After a long silence, he dropped the words coldly. You're just throwing a tantrum, Sloan. He turned and walked away, only glancing back at the door to order. Throw whatever fit you want. Make sure you clean my study. I opened my mouth, but no words came. I pulled out my phone and started looking for a good housekeeper. I truly had enough. I couldn't take it anymore. Looking back now, I was almost impressed with my former self. I used to wake up at 6 a.m. sharp every day to carefully prepare breakfast for Oliver, who had allergies, then make a separate meal at 7 o'clock for Kian and his sensitive stomach. After quickly eating my own breakfast, I'd clean the entire house until it sparkled. Kian was a neat freak. Couldn't stand the slightest bit of clutter, especially in his study. I tried to tidy up like I used to earlier today, but the flood of memories left me so exhausted I could barely stand. I must not have put his files back correctly. That was probably why he came to remind me. I drifted off to sleep, only to be woken a few minutes later by frantic knocking on the door. Why haven't you made breakfast yet? I'm going to be late. Oliver's voice was sharp with impatience. I ordered takeout, I said calmly. It'll be here soon. I rolled over and tried to go back to sleep. Angry kicking against the door followed immediately. Dad never should have changed you back. Lila always makes me breakfast. I opened my eyes again to find Kian roughly pulling me out of bed. What did you feed Oliver? He demanded. Before I could process what was happening, he dragged me in front of Oliver. The boy's body was covered in red hives. He was struggling to breathe. Even if you're mad, you don't take it out on Oliver. He has severe allergies. A reaction like this could stop his breathing. The ambulance arrived quickly and rushed Oliver to the hospital. I hurried after them, trying to explain. When I ordered his breakfast, I specifically listed all his allergens. The restaurant confirmed it was safe. He shot me a furious look. Don't make excuses. You sent the nutritionist I hired away, insisting on controlling his diet yourself. And now just because he sided with Lila, you decide to get back at him? That's not it. If you just listen to me. Save it, he cut me off coldly. Don't make me regret restoring your memory. The truth was, I'd been so strict with his diet precisely because his allergies were so severe. The nutritionist he'd hired had quit after a few days, admitting that caring for a child with such needs was too demanding. But I was too tired to explain. Once the new housekeeper arrived, none of this would be my problem. The doctor said Oliver had an allergic reaction to honey. He hadn't consumed much, so it wasn't serious. Just needed for and some observation. I called the restaurant manager, explained that the honey was a complimentary side. The packaging was clearly labeled with an allergen warning. Oliver must have snuck the sweet stuff. He always had a sweet tooth, but was allergic to both honey and chocolate. I used to watch him like a hawk. Nothing like this had ever happened. The one time I let my guard down, this was the result. I was about to turn and explain to Kian when a small figure suddenly rushed to my side. Isabel, what are you doing at the hospital? I knelt in surprise and hugged Isabel Fraser. She was the one who'd stayed with me the entire time I was hospitalized with amnesia. Back then, I was terrified and lost. Feel like a part of me had been hollowed out. Unable to handle even the simplest things, with Isabel, who patiently stayed with me, taught me, and kept me from feeling so utterly alone. She fell off the swing and hit her head. Her uncle Frederick Moss explained. He looked visibly relieved to see me. Are you okay? Does it hurt? I asked, stroking her hair. Isabel wrapped her arms around my neck. I'm okay. I just missed you. So much. I missed you, too. Frederick watched us, with a gentle expression. What are you guys doing here? Is everything alright? I'm fine. It's my son. He had an allergic reaction. He paused, then quickly corrected himself. I mean, is your son going to be okay? I couldn't help but smile. He's fine. He'll be okay after the 4. Frederick was about to say something else when Kian's angry voice boomed from behind me. I turned to meet Kian's dark stare. His gaze swept over Frederick, then landed on a smile on my face. His brow instantly furrowed. Oliver's crying. I immediately looked toward Oliver on the hospital bed. The redness on his face had subsided, but it was now streaked with tears. He looked extremely agitated, pointing a crying finger at Isabel. Who is she? This is Isabel, I explained softly. She kept me company when I was in the hospital. Don't cry. It's not good to have tears on your face. You're the big brother. You need to act like it. My words only made him cry harder. I don't know her. Get out. Exhaustion washed over me. Oliver had never liked me. The number of times he tried to get rid of me was too high to count. I saw how agitated he was, blood starting to back up in his foreline. I turned and walked out of the room without looking back. I finally found a housekeeper willing to do a trial run. I told Oliver ahead of time. I found a housekeeper. She's coming over in a bit, so you can see if she's a good fit. After the incident at the hospital, Oliver had been unusually quiet, less confrontational. He actually spoke up in a small voice. Mom, I thought you didn't like strangers in the house. He hadn't called me mom in a long time. Usually, it was just my first name. Or every time I tried to discipline him, he'd defiantly say he liked Lila better. I pushed aside the uncomfortable feeling and forced a dry laugh. Housekeeper will make life easier for everyone. Kian pushed his glasses up, chiming in with a cold edge. It'll be good for you to get some rest. Just try not to find some ridiculous excuse to fire this one, claiming she's trying to seduce me, deliberately bringing up my past foolishness to humiliate me. That familiar, sickening shame washed over me. That was me back then. I was drowning in love. Insecure and ridiculous, I was about to assure him when the doorbell suddenly rang. Oliver glanced at me, then surprisingly went to open the door himself. Sounds from the door. Before I could react, Lila walked in. Young, beautiful. So this really is Dr. Hale's house, she said. I saw the ad for a housekeeper and thought I'd come see if I could be of help. Kian's calm expression vanished. He slammed his cup on the table, splashing water everywhere. I've told you 1,000 times, Lila. We only have a doctor-patient relationship. Did you bring her here on purpose, just to humiliate her? I scrambled to explain, but it was pointless to argue now. I could only try to diffuse it. My standards were so high that no one else would apply. She was the first person to say yes. I didn't even check her background. How could I have known it was Lila? I know I was too sensitive before and I misunderstood her. If she's willing to be our housekeeper, and you two already spent 3 months together, you're familiar with each other. She's a perfect fit. Just consider it my way of making up for my past mistakes. My tone was calm. I even had a relaxed smile, as if a weight I'd carried for years had finally been lifted. I was more at peace than ever before. Seeing me like this, Kian's chest inexplicably tightened. A sudden wave of panic washed over him. Something important was slowly slipping through his fingers. He remained silent, but Lila's eyes welled up. Dr. Hale, am I causing trouble for you? I'm so sorry. You treated me for free, stayed with me late into the night, and even took me to the Smoky Mountains to recover. I was so grateful. I just wanted to help. I'm so sorry. I'll leave right now. After a speech like that, of course Lila stayed. Kian even reminded me, remember what you said. Don't give her a hard time on purpose. Then he reached out and gently stroked my cheek. His voice softened. Sloane, you don't have to force yourself to please me. I'm already used to your outbursts. I changed the sheets in the master bedroom to your favorite ones. Come back and sleep there, starting tonight. Goosebumps rose on my arms again. I suddenly understood. Kian probably wanted to give the spacious guest room to Lila. The next day, I offered to switch rooms with Lila and moved into the housekeeper's quarters myself. Kian's expression grew even more sullen, his anger barely suppressed. He was so distracted that he spilled scalding coffee on Lila's arm, without even noticing. That night, he took Lila into the study. He glanced at me as they went in, but I was engrossed in my phone and paid him no mind. In the past, the study was off limits to everyone, including Oliver. But Lila was the exception. From then on, Kian couldn't stop comparing me to Lila. He'd praise her cooking, how clean she kept the house, how organized his study was, never missing an opportunity to throw in a jab at me. I just rolled my eyes in frustration. If he wanted to praise her, fine. But did he have to tear me down to do it? My lack of reaction only made Kian's mood fouler. I couldn't be bothered to be in the same room with him. Mom. Lila gave Oliver a piece of candy. Can I eat it? Oliver, who'd been much quieter lately, held up the candy and asked in a small voice. Eat it if you want, I said without looking up. But it's new. So what? Oliver suddenly burst into tears, completely distraught. Mom, please don't stop caring about me. I'm allergic to nuts. You never let me eat them before. He was crying now, messy and raw. I know I was wrong. Everything you did was for my own good. Please don't ignore me. I promise I'll listen from now on. It took me a moment to catch up. Seeing Oliver crying so wretchedly, I was at a loss. All I could do was look at Lila. Can you comfort him? He's always liked you. Lila pulled him into a hug to soothe him. I quickly left the room, closing the door on the sound of his cries, or I would have been torn apart by guilt and heartache. But now, as I pressed a hand to my chest, there was nothing inside but an empty space. I felt nothing at all. During my amnesia, I would still feel a mysterious heartache and cry through sleepless nights. But I suppose I cried all my tears out. My heart had gone numb. I no longer had the strength to care about anyone. Late evening. Kian was in the shower when he called out, Sloane, bring me my bathrobe. I was painting my nails and didn't want to smudge them, so I turned to Lila. Could you get it for him? I can't right now. Lila blushed with a shy look in her eyes. Biting her lip, she nodded. Of course. I'm happy to do anything Dr. Hale needs. After she went in, I focused on my nails. A moment later, Kian's furious roar echoed from the bathroom. Get out! Followed by the sharp sound of shattering glass. A few seconds later, Kian stormed over to me. His hand was cut and bleeding. Sloane, what in the world are you playing at? He demanded. You used to never let another woman get near me, and now you're practically throwing her at me. Watching him lose control, I felt not a single ripple of emotion. Then finally, add all 1,000 garlic cloves to the lamb. I looked at his bleeding hand. Then I looked at Lila, who was standing several feet away, trembling. I didn't throw her at you, I said. You asked for your bathrobe. I was painting my nails, so I asked her to get it. Kian stared at me. You know what I mean? No, I really don't. His jaw tightened. You used to go crazy if another woman even looked at me. I shrugged. People change. That answer seemed to hit him harder than an argument would have. His eyes narrowed. You're doing this on purpose. I laughed softly. Doing what? Trying to make me jealous. I actually stared at him. Kian, I don't care who you sleep with. Lila's face went pale. Kian's expression changed completely. For a few seconds, neither of us spoke. Then he grabbed a towel and wrapped it around his bleeding hand. You're unbelievable. I've been told. He walked away. I went back to painting my nails. The next morning, I woke up to the smell of roasted lamb. I walked downstairs and found Lila in the kitchen, surrounded by ingredients. She looked up nervously. Dr. Hale wanted something special for dinner tonight. I nodded. Sounds good. Kian appeared behind her. His eyes immediately went to me. You're not helping? I hired a housekeeper, so I wouldn't have to. His face darkened. Lila quickly stepped between us. I can handle everything. Kian glanced at her, then at me. Of course you can. I smiled. Great. I grabbed my purse and headed toward the door. Where are you going? Out. With who? I stopped, then turned around. Why do you care? His expression froze. I don't. Then we're both having a good day. I left before he could answer. For the first time since my memories returned, I spent an entire afternoon doing whatever I wanted. I went shopping. I got my hair done. I ate lunch alone. I bought a ridiculously expensive dress simply because I liked it. And when I came home, Kian was waiting in the living room. You've been gone all day. Yes. Where? Out. He looked irritated. You used to tell me everywhere you went. I used to. His fingers tightened around his phone. Then Oliver came running downstairs. Mom. I looked at him. He stopped halfway down the stairs. His little face crumpled. You're not mad at me? No. Really? Really? He slowly walked over. I didn't eat the candy Lila gave me. Good. I threw it away. Good. And I won't sneak food anymore. I nodded. That's good. He looked at me for a long moment, then whispered, Can I hug you? Something inside me shifted. Not love. Not the overwhelming maternal instinct I remembered from the fragments of my old life. Just pity. I opened my arms. Oliver rushed into them and cried against my stomach. I want my mom back. I gently stroked his hair. She never left. He cried harder, but I knew what he meant. The woman he remembered was gone. That night, dinner was served. Lila proudly brought out the roasted lamb. I followed Dr. Hale's recipe exactly. Kian took a bite. His expression immediately changed. What did you put in this? Lila blinked. Garlic. How much? She hesitated. I thought the recipe said 1,000 cloves. Everyone at the table went silent. I nearly choked on my water. Kian stared at her. 1,000. Lila nodded uncertainly. I thought it was a special recipe. I looked at the mountain of garlic surrounding the lamb. Then I burst out laughing. Kian stared at me like I'd lost my mind. What? I wiped my eyes. Nothing. For once, the absurdity of my life was actually funny. Kian pushed his plate away. I've lost my appetite. That's probably for the best. His eyes snapped toward me. I smiled sweetly. Your stomach is sensitive. Oliver suddenly giggled. Kian looked at him, then at me. For a brief second, the three of us almost looked like a normal family. Then Kian's phone rang. He glanced at the screen. Lila's expression changed, and I noticed something neither of them realized I noticed. The caller's name was Dr. Frederick Moss. Kian answered. Hello. Frederick's voice came through faintly. Dr. Hale, we need to talk about Sloane. My smile disappeared. Kian stood. About my wife? Yes. There was a pause. Her memories may have returned differently than you think. I slowly lowered my fork. Kian looked at me. Frederick continued. She remembers everything. His voice hardened. But there's something else. Kian's face went pale. What? She remembers what happened before you erased her memories. The room went completely still. I stared at Kian. He stared back. And for the first time since my memories returned, I saw genuine fear in my husband's eyes. Kian slowly lowered the phone. What exactly are you talking about? He asked. Frederick's voice was faint, but I could still hear him. You should ask your wife. The call ended. Kian stood frozen. I looked at him. What did Frederick mean? Nothing. His answer came too quickly. I smiled. Then, why do you look terrified? I don't. You do. Lila suddenly stood. Maybe I should clean up. No, I said. She froze. I looked directly at her. Stay. Kian's expression tightened. Sloane. What? You need to rest. I've been resting for months. I pushed my chair back. I want answers. Kian walked toward me. There is nothing you need to know. That isn't your decision anymore. His face hardened. You don't understand what you're asking. Then explain it. He said nothing. I laughed. So that's it? What? You erased my memories, took another woman away for 3 months, brought me home, restored everything, and now there's something else you don't want me to remember? Kian's face went white. Lila looked between us. I think I should leave. I turned toward her. Yes. She blinked. For tonight. Kian immediately said, Lila stays here. I looked at him. Then you can stay with her. I walked upstairs. Kian followed. Sloane. I entered my room and began pulling clothes from the closet. What are you doing? Moving out. He grabbed my wrist. I stared down at his hand. Let go. He didn't. Sloane, listen to me. I am listening. His grip loosened. You're making decisions based on incomplete information. Then complete it. He swallowed. I was trying to protect you. I laughed bitterly. That's what everyone says when they make decisions for someone else. He looked away. I continued packing. You were a psychiatrist. You knew exactly what hypnosis could do to me. I know. You knew I was grieving. I know. You knew I was vulnerable. His voice dropped. I know. Then why did you do it? He didn't answer. That was answer enough. I stopped packing. Was it because of Lila? His head snapped toward me. No. Then why? He remained silent. I stared at him. Was our baby really an accident? Kian froze. My heart began pounding. He slowly looked at me. Who told you that? Nobody. I stepped closer. I remembered something. His face changed. What? A week before I lost the baby, I found something in your study. Kian stopped breathing. I remembered the scene. My old self standing in his study. A file on his desk. A pregnancy test. A medical report. And a conversation I'd overheard through the half-open door. Kian's voice. Lila's voice. Then my own shaking hands. I pressed my fingers against my temple. I remembered Lila crying. Kian's expression became strained. She said she couldn't keep pretending. I looked at him. You told her you would fix everything. He whispered my name. Sloan. You told her I'd never remember. His face had gone completely pale. I stepped backward. You didn't erase my memories because I was suffering. He said nothing. You erased them because I was starting to remember the truth. Kian closed his eyes. For several seconds, the room was silent. Then he whispered, yes. My entire body went cold. What truth? He looked at me, and this time, there was no anger in his eyes. Only guilt. The baby wasn't lost because of an accident. My breath caught. Then what happened? Kian's lips trembled. I caused it. I stared at him. He continued. I made a mistake. What mistake? I changed your medication. I couldn't move. You were pregnant, he said. I knew you were pregnant. My voice came out barely above a whisper. Why? Because I thought. He stopped. Because you thought what? That if the pregnancy continued, you'd leave me. I stared at him in disbelief. You killed our baby because you were afraid I'd leave you? I never meant for you to lose the baby. I slapped him. The sound echoed through the room. He didn't defend himself. He just stood there. I was shaking. You knew. Yes. You knew exactly what happened. Yes. And then you erased my memories. His eyes filled with tears. I couldn't lose you too. I laughed. It sounded horrible even to my own ears. You already lost me. He looked at me. I picked up my suitcase. This time, you won't get to hypnotize me into staying. And as I walked past him, his phone rang again. Frederick. Kian answered with trembling hands. Frederick's voice came through. Did you tell her? Yes. Then you need to tell her the rest. Kian's face changed. What rest? Frederick paused. The medication wasn't prescribed by you. Kian went completely still. I found the original prescription. His eyes widened. Someone else changed the dosage. I stopped at the doorway. Frederick continued. And Kian, what? The handwriting belongs to Lila. I froze. Kian slowly turned toward Lila. She had gone completely pale. That's impossible, she whispered. Frederick sent Kian a photograph of the prescription. The signature was unmistakable. Lila's. Kian stared at it for several seconds. Then he looked at her. Explain. Lila's eyes filled with tears. I can explain. You forged my prescription? I was desperate. For what? For you. She broke down. I loved you. You were obsessed with Sloan, even when you kept telling me your marriage was already falling apart. I thought if she lost the baby, she'd finally leave you. Kian looked sick. You caused it. I didn't know she'd lose the baby. You changed the dosage. I only wanted her pregnancy to become complicated. I stared at her. You almost killed me. Lila looked at me. I was jealous. Kian stepped backward as if she'd struck him. And you let me believe I caused our baby's death. You erased Sloane's memories yourself. Lila screamed. You told me you couldn't stand watching her suffer. You wanted her to forget everything. Kian's face collapsed. Because she was right. He had made his own choice. He couldn't blame her for that. I picked up my suitcase. I don't care who started it anymore. Kian rushed toward me. Sloan, please. I stepped away. Don't touch me. He stopped. I loved you, he whispered. I know. His eyes filled with tears. But I don't love you anymore. Oliver appeared in the doorway, crying. Mom. I looked at him. He ran toward me. I knelt and hugged him. I'll always care about you. Are you leaving? Yes. Because of me? No. I wiped his tears. None of this was your fault. Kian covered his face. I walked out. Within a week, I filed for divorce. Kian lost his medical license after the investigation uncovered the hypnosis, the unauthorized treatment, and his role in concealing the medication tampering. Lila was arrested for forging the prescription and intentionally altering my medication. The house was sold. The money was divided. I moved into a small apartment overlooking the ocean. For the first time, my mornings belonged entirely to me. No breakfast schedules. No spotless study. No husband demanding his bathrobe. No child screaming that he hated me. Just quiet mornings, coffee, sunlight, and the freedom to decide what came next. Months later, I received one final letter from Kian. He apologized. He said he finally understood that erasing someone's memories couldn't erase the consequences of what he'd done. I read the letter once, then threw it away. I did hate him. And that was the one thing he could never take from me again. My life was mine. And this time, I remembered everything. Kian's trial lasted months. The evidence was overwhelming. The forged prescription, the altered medication, the medical records, the hypnosis sessions, and, worst of all, the recordings proving he deliberately erased my memories and hidden the truth about our baby. The judge sentenced him to prison. When the officers came to take him away, Kian looked at me through the courtroom window. Sloan. I didn't answer. I know I don't deserve forgiveness. I nodded. At least you finally understand something. His eyes filled with tears. What? You don't get to decide what I remember anymore. The prison gates closed behind him. At first, Kian believed prison would be temporary suffering. He was wrong. His medical license was permanently revoked. His career was destroyed. His reputation disappeared overnight. The man who had once walked into a hospital wearing an immaculate white coat now wore a prison uniform. Other inmates eventually learned why he was there. A psychiatrist who had manipulated his own wife. A husband who had concealed the truth about his child's death. A doctor who had abused his position. They mocked him constantly. Hey, doctor. Fix yourself. Can you hypnotize yourself out of here? Kian stopped responding. His cell was tiny. His meals were bland. His schedule was controlled down to the minute. For someone who had spent his entire life controlling everyone around him, losing control became its own punishment. But the worst part came at night. There was nowhere to hide from his memories. He remembered my face. The way I used to wake up before sunrise. The meals I'd prepared. The countless times I'd waited for him. The way I'd begged him to spend time with me. And the night he'd erased it all. He remembered thinking he was saving our marriage. Now he understood he'd only destroyed it more thoroughly. One evening, he received a letter. It was from Oliver. Dad, I don't want to visit anymore. Kian stared at the words for a long time. Then another sentence caught his attention. Mom said I can still love you even if I don't forgive you. His hands began shaking. He pressed the letter against his chest. For the first time since entering prison, he completely broke down. Meanwhile, I was living peacefully. I started painting again. I traveled. I bought a little house near the coast. I hired people to handle everything I'd once done myself. And every morning, I woke up knowing exactly who I was. One afternoon, I received a call from Frederick. Kian was transferred to another facility. I paused. Why? He attacked another inmate. I sighed. Is he okay? He's fine. Then Frederick added quietly. He keeps asking whether you've ever mentioned him. I smiled. Tell him no. There was a pause. You really don't hate him? No. I looked out at the ocean. I just don't care. And somehow, that hurt Kian more than anything prison could have done. Because punishment eventually ends. But knowing the person you destroyed had built a happy life without you, that could last forever.